deep space, extraterrestrials, UFOs, aliens. An idea that has fascinated mankind for as long as humanity has understood the solar system. The earliest known piece of media containing outer space and alien life dates back to 2nd century AD. But that's old and boring. Unlike the 70s.
Alien came out on June 22nd, 1979, directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. The plot follows the crew of the Nostromo, a deep space cargo vessel, being awoken by cryosleep by the ship's computer to investigate a nearby distress signal. While on a planet, they encounter a hostile alien life that picks off the crew one by one, until Ellen Ripley destroys the ship and the alien. She escapes the ship, being the lone survivor of the crew.
The movie deals with themes of gender, isolation, and reproductive horror. Dissecting Alien through a gender and sexuality lens will give us a much deeper insight into the movie's messages and themes, while also providing an explanation on gender and sexuality theory. Gender theory describes how gender functions in society, and sexuality theory depicts how sexuality interacts with humans. But more importantly than that, we have to talk about the monster.
The main monster in Alien is called a xenomorph, and it looks like this. Immediately, there are lots of visual cues with just the physical design of the xenomorph. Its head is long and phallic-shaped, and its body design is very androgynous, somewhat resembling a human without actually resembling a gender or a sex. When we look at the design of the other species of aliens, the facehugger, we can see motifs of genitalia in it as well. The underside directly is just female genitalia. And to continue with these themes, the main thread of the movie is the alien implanting its eggs into the humans, which is a direct parallel to SA and getting pregnant. The horror of this movie is a forced reproduction by beings that look like human genitalia. On a bigger scale, there are themes of invasion throughout the movie as well. The crew has their ship, which is supposed to be a safe haven for them, and only them, much alike to someone's body, but they make the mistake of giving the aliens a small window in, and in that safe space are now being invaded, which again is a direct parallel to someone's body. And if even that isn't enough evidence, taking a look at the Nostromo shows that it is shaped like ovaries. The ship is definitely making a reference to a woman's body being invaded by something evil. It's even referred to as mother throughout the movie, and feminine pronouns to enforce those themes. The other threats in Alien are less imminent, but absolutely still there. To look at these, we have to take on a more gendered lens as compared to Sexuality before. Ash is the science officer on board, and unknown to anyone is an android. Quite literally, Ash is inhuman, but he is representative of the more common threat of standing by while someone intrudes. He has the ability to help, but he shrugs off the struggles of the people on board, and a real-life comparison can be made here with men shrugging off victims of assault, acting as if it isn't as big of a threat as it should be treated as. Later in the movie, we see Ash's room, which is desolate and bare, aside from the pornography on his walls, further showing how he feels about women. And the motifs of human reproductive parts are continued when he is killed. The design of his insides aren't robotic and metallic, they're synthetic and filled with a thick white substance. There are so many more visual themes that support these ideas throughout the movie, but what do they actually mean? What is Alien trying to say with these motifs?
Alien is not an account of how gender is learned and subsequently performed. It is a commentary of the dangers of an uneven gender hierarchy. Ellen is continually sidelined throughout the events of the movie, despite her ranking on the ship's authority and her very rational suggestions. Her two main adversarial crewmates that impede on her authority are Captain Dallas and Science Officer Ash. Ash serves as the much more human threat. He is the gendered face of this type of horror. He is not as fantastical as the xenomorph. He's a coworker with more authority to disregard Ellen. He, like the xenomorph, is inhuman. His room in the ship is filled with pornographic material. He is consumed by his lust for the exploration of the monster symbolic for sexual assault. The lust causes dismissal and violence towards Ellen.
Seems dead enough.
Well, good. Let's get rid of it.
Ripley. God's sake, this is the first time that we've encountered a species like this. It has to go back. All sorts of tests have to be made.
Ash, are you kidding? This thing bled acid. Who knows what it's gonna do when it's dead?
I think it's safe to assume it isn't a zombie.
But how does Dallas play into this? Dallas is the enabler. He doesn't outright commend or even condemn Ash's actions. He instead ignores Ellen's concerns and outrage. He represents those in power who do have the option to stop these predators' actions, but instead turn a blind eye or outright contribute.
How come I gotta change my mind? All right, the decision's been made.
I'm not trying to change your mind, Dallas. I just want you to listen. Will you listen to... Just tell me how you can leave that kind of decision to him.
Look, I just run the ship. Anything that has to do with the science division, Ash has the final word.
How does that happen?
It happens, my dear, because that's what the company wants to happen.
When he encounters the xenomorph, he isn't killed. Instead, he is taken to a nest on the ship and reduced to an immobile witness to the consequences of his action, forced to slowly become another egg for the xenomorph, a literal vessel for the alien to continue to spread. The movie tells us, through a lens of gender theory, that in the current system of gender imbalance, women in power are still at risk of being victimized because of the power men have to either perpetuate or enable reproductive horror. Speaking of which, the alien. This movie does not follow the traditional 70s horror movie trope and villainize the act of sex the same way Friday the 13th does. Instead, it's the overindulgence and obsession that results in sexual deviance that Alien is warning us about. The xenomorph is the personification of that idea. Every part of its biology and nature are in some way reflective of human genitalia or reproductive horror. Interestingly, the alien does not point to a specific gender responsible for reproductive horror. Instead, it demonizes and inhumanizes the act of reproductive horror as a whole, further cementing the idea that the act or committing the act, enabling the act of reproductive horror in any way inhumanizes those who perpetrate it.